Morning. We have these press conferences following critical incidents to ensure that we're providing as much information as quickly as we can while the investigation process is going on. The details of this incident will be slightly less than we normally give, and that's because the video of the incident and the lighting condition, the movement in the video makes the video a little bit less clear than some of the previous videos, and so we'll need to wait until we interview the officers that are involved to get a bit clearer picture of what they actually saw versus what the video shows or doesn't show. Last night at approximately 11:37 p.m., officers conducted a traffic stop in the area of Peterkin and Thompson. Two officers made contact with the driver of the vehicle. There was also a passenger in the vehicle. During the contact, officers observed a gun. The gun was in the lap area of the driver. And again, I'll kind of use the lap area of the driver as a very broad term because, as I already mentioned, what the officers saw in terms of the movement of that gun, that will be determined later on when the officers are interviewed. Both officers verbalized that they observed a gun, so we know at least they saw the gun in that lap area of the driver. One of the officers was on the passenger side of the vehicle, made contact with the driver and began giving the driver commands. Shortly after observing the gun, the officer on the passenger side of the vehicle fired one round, striking the driver. The driver was pronounced deceased on the scene. The incident was captured on body-worn camera as well as dash cam. Currently, our dedicated detectives are conducting a thorough investigation with the utmost integrity and dedication. What questions do you have?
So my understanding is that the officers recognized a gun during a traffic stop. Was there any threat with the gun?
It was a traffic stop, and officers made verbal statements that you could hear audible that they observed the gun. You can see the gun in the video, and beyond that, we'll wait until the officers actually interviewed so they can articulate what they saw happening with that gun at the time.
Are you able to confirm that if anyone touched the gun at all?
It's difficult to see from the video, so that's why we've got to wait for the officers to be able to confirm what they saw.
And anything you can tell us about who was driving the vehicle or the reason why that stop occurred?
The individual that was driving the vehicle will put that information out in the next coming days once next of kin is notified, as we typically do with our policy. And we know that the traffic stop was conducted for a traffic violation.
Can you provide more specifics about that? Was it speeding? Was it missing a turn?
No headlight. One of the headlights wasn't operating.
And what's kind of the next steps now moving forward from here?
So the next step is the detectives and crime scene team will process the scene and start conducting the investigations. I mentioned there was one passenger in the vehicle, so there's at least one witness that we'll be interviewing that's not an officer. We'll interview the involved officer and witness officers over the course of the next couple of days. And then roughly in about a week, we'll have another press conference to update the public on the information that we gained over the last couple of days. The investigation won't be done at that point, so it still will be a little bit preliminary information that we'll be putting out, but we want to make sure that we maintain that consistent information to come out so that we don't have a lot of questions with the public. And then typically what we're seeing is we turn those investigations over to the Office of Special Prosecution somewhere around the 3-week marker, and then they review it and determine whether or not they want to pursue charges.
And you mentioned that it was dark during this traffic stop, and that might be impacting the video footage from the camera. Are we going to be changing at all camera footage in the future? So last a dark state, we can get better quality footage when it's dark out.
So the cameras that we have are pretty much the best cameras on the market. So they're the highest quality that we can get, but there's always lighting issues. You'll see in the video that there's a window that's partially up in this particular incident, so you got reflections that are involved. So it's not just the fact that it's dim light. It was a little after 11:30 p.m., so it's during hours of darkness. And then when you have the officer moving, that also causes the camera to move. And so instead of having a fixed camera, as that camera pans and moves, you're not getting a clear, solid image. So it's not necessarily that we have bad cameras or that there are cameras out there that's going to be able to create a clearer picture. It's just all the circumstances that are involved in low light scenarios like this make it a little bit more challenging to see very clear pictures.
Thank you.